Hello and welcome and thanks for tuning in today. So, as the title suggests, I think I didn't update the stream title. Oh my god, it says Out of the Rain Song Breakdown. That's wrong. I'm gonna update it real quick. Showing how I produced my song, Monody. As the title suggests, that was funny. Okay. I think now it should be correctly. All right, cool. As the title suggests, we're not doing what the title says. No, I'm doing as I posted on social media, as I announced on Discord, etc. I'm doing a song breakdown for one of my older songs today, which is Monody. The reason I'm doing those song breakdowns, let me turn this up a little bit. The reason I'm doing the song breakdowns is that I really learned a lot from other producers showing their production skills, like Disclosure, for example. Zed did something. Ian Kirkpatrick, one of the most successful and best producers at the moment in the world, is doing breakdowns of his productions for Dua Lipa, for example. And I'm really learning a lot from that. So I thought, hey, I want to throw my few cents into the ring. Does it make any sense? I don't know. I want to add my contribution to the knowledge pool of music producers. So that's what we're doing today. I'm going to go briefly through the history of the song. The reason I'm doing is not just for nostalgia for me to tell you, oh, this is how I produced the song and it was like this were my feelings or anything. No, it's more that you see how sometimes confusing and non-linear the process of making a song is, because I think from the outside it can be a little misleading when you see, oh, somebody's just putting out a song and it just seems to be there and you think that it's amazing, and I'm sitting down and it just doesn't sound that good. So that's why I'm going through the process of creating it, because you will probably see that it's kind of the same for me. I'm just, usually when you have a great product, it's just that somebody stayed longer on it and just went through the entire process. So the initial idea I had for Monody was summer 2013. The song was released November 2015, so more than 2 years later. What's that? That's like 27 months later. So of course I didn't work the entire time on the song, but I had the initial idea. Was like, and I remember when I had the initial idea which was just a dung 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 dung, this part, but with a different production. I remember I went to my wife and said, "This is gonna be amazing. This is gonna be next level because the concept of it is really good. I just didn't know how to actually make it sound good." And I actually do have a little production idea here. Let me play this to you real quick. Yeah. Yeah, pretty aggressive bass. And it's kind of boring. This is actually not the idea from 2013. It's, I think, a little later already. But so this is kind of how it sounded. And it had this, like somebody already said in the chat, a very aggressive bass though. It's too messy. It's too chaotic, the production. So that was the entire challenge for me to get there. Anyways, I had this and I didn't know how to produce it. And I came back to it a couple of times. And I also, at the first time, I didn't have the second. I didn't have this melody. That melody, actually, I was writing songs for an a cappella group called Voxenstopp at the time. I was, by the way, singing in that a cappella group very early in 2009. So I was still writing songs for them. I wrote a completely different song, and the chorus was that. And I really liked the chorus, and then the song for them kind of didn't happen. Didn't move forward. So I went back to this idea here. Every couple of months, and at some point I thought like, hey, this chorus from the other song that I wrote, that might be a good fit, like would be like a great B melody, if you will. Yeah, that's what I added. Still didn't know how to produce it. And then in 2015, so that was almost 2 years later, what's that? 18 months later, 20 months later, after the initial idea, I said, well, you know what? I really like this idea. I'm just going to work on this idea until it's completely finished. And then it took another 5 months. So it took 5 months of producing every day to actually finish the song. So, yeah, like I said, the reason I'm telling this is to show you that sometimes music production can be quite chaotic. It's not that you just sit down and it's just happening. Sometimes it's like that. Sometimes it just happens. Like, for example, I also made a song breakdown for Backbone Day / Xenogenesis. That one happened pretty fast. A lot of the stuff was there within 2 days, pretty much all of it. Never Be Alone, for example, same thing. And yeah, sometimes it's very, very fast. Sometimes it takes quite a long time. Let me explain you something about the song. Let me show you the project. There it is. This doesn't look too much. There's a little more down here. And also the project is made out of, you see here, I still have old songs as references. The song is actually made out of 3 projects. So we have, it's a separate project for, that's the reverb, I don't want that. I have a separate project for the orchestra intro, which is this one here. This one here, so you can see it. It's just a WAV file here. And then the breakdown. It's also a separate project. So those 2 are separate projects. And then we have the main project, which has the beats and stuff here. So this is the actual project playing, and that brings everything together. Let me check the chat real quick. Thank you very much for all the compliments. Okay, yeah, if you have any questions about the production process, just let me know. All right, first of all, I want to talk a little bit about the structure of the song. Let me open this one here so it doesn't cover it here. So first one, let me talk a little bit about the structure, or how the song is made from a musical perspective, because I think it's kind of unique. The song is very long. It's almost 5 minutes. But the reason I think that it works is that the musical elements that it's made of are it's basically 2 bars of music. So one rhythmic element is dung, da, dung, dung, right? This here. This repeats and comes back again and again in different iterations. So this is one. Then we have another musical element. Let me play it real quick. So this is 1 bar. Then we have, this is half a bar. And then we have this rhythmic element, which is this one. Da da da. Because this melody just repeats, it goes to different notes, but it repeats the same rhythm all over again. Right, it's da da dum 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 da da dum. Small variation da da dum da dum 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 da da dum da dum dum dum. So this is just a variation already. But the core elements of it are 2 bars. Dum da dum dum da 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 and da 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 da. That's the entire song. That's all the music information that is there in the song. It's just this, all those elements are just presented in a ton of different ways. Would be interesting to know when you came up with the vocals, and is it like that you gave Laura the text, or did she come up with it herself after you sending her the idea? No, she just sang it. The only song where she wrote anything on it is Chosen. That was written together with Anna Yvette and Laura. All the other songs I made with her. She got everything. And talking about the singer, I had a couple of singers before in it. They just didn't sound that good. I think Laura was the 5th singer that I tried on the song, where I actually really liked it. And that's also important for me to tell you. So if you try a song with a singer and it's not working, well, that's part of the game. So it's just part of the game of music production. It's just you try things and they don't work. And then you try something else and it also doesn't work. And then you try something else and it also doesn't work. And then with maybe the 5th time it works, and maybe the 10th time. I think with Fly Away, I had 14 vocal recordings until I was happy with it. One part sounds like a Disney soundtrack. I just don't remember what film. By the way, that's really confusing to me. A lot of people say that it sounds like How to Tame Your Dragon, the Dragon's theme, and they reference a specific song. I listened to the song. To me, it sounds nothing like that at all, except that it's like orchestra and some like Celtic melody style. But it's there are actually a couple of songs that have this melody and da 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 da. But there are a couple. There's a one from 1994, a Korean song. There's one, I think it's 10,000 Reasons or 1,000 Reasons or something. There's a song from the Netherlands, the Königs something. It's just a very likely melody to write, just because it has this repeating rhythm and a sort of not very uncommon chord structure. So yeah, it's a little bit like the lyrics, I don't know, I love you baby or something. It's just very like it happens easily. Or you rhyme fire on desire. It just happens easily that you rhyme that. Okay, so let's get back to the structure. What I want to show you, because this is sort of a music production or better music writing technique, is this that you have one element or very few music elements and you combine them in new ways throughout the song. One piece of music where this was done, and I'm not comparing Monody by any means to the quality of the music, just the way it's like the technique of composing it's Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, like da 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 da. If you listen to the first Satz, I don't know the English word for it. If you listen to the first Satz, it's just this. It's just repeating this all the way through, and then it's just the other phrases and that's it. So you have those two and those two, and this makes the entire piece of music. So that sort of that technique is what I use here, and let me show you how this is executed. So this is just a sound effect. And there we start. This is actually the first element, right? It just doesn't come across. It just comes across as like what's called an ostinato. It's just like some pattern that's repeating over and over again to create drama. But this is actually the main melody. It just doesn't move on with it. It's just the first phrase. So only the dum dum and not the. So it's a little I don't know. It's a little sort of a trick. You're already showing the first melody, kind of not telling that it's the first melody. So then we start with the second melody. And because it's a different octave, it's a different instrument, this sounds like something new. But it's the same melodies here. Right? It's both times the same thing. And there we go again. It's dum 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 dum. It's already the main theme. Some sound effects. And we have the build up. All right, so, I mean, we could count or we could make an estimate how often, let me check real quick, how often we hear dum da dum dum before the main theme starts. So it's probably 16 times here. It's probably another 16 times here. So when this one comes around, we have heard dum da dum dum already 32 times. Probably, yeah, I think should be something like that. Or maybe I messed up the bars, but it's at least 16 times. At least 16 times you've heard this one. Before the song actually starts. So that's why it's just a trick to make it sound familiar. All right. So, oh yeah, and then we have the variation in the lead melody. So obviously, let me check real quick which one it is. So this has a variation. Oh, there's a violin behind it. And then there's a variation of this one. So it's this one. It's a variation of this one. With a pickup. So this gets introduced the first time here. Okay, so it's the same thing repeating over and over again. Right, and this is once again, this is basically the entire thing. And I really, for a long time, I wasn't sure, should I repeat this part or not? But it always kind of asked for it to repeat. But as you can see, like, let me play my first attempt, and I warn you, it might sound a little bit boring. Oh, by the way, I want to tell you something real quick. If my stream suddenly stops, my internet here is not the best. So just hold on. Usually I will be back within a couple of minutes. So let me play this one here first, once again. So you can hear that it's more boring. Like this, when this part repeats, even though there's this weird in the background, it's really like, oh, come on, one more time. So the little trick kind of that was done here is that I had the octaves. Oh, let me play it. So this is the lower octave. And here's the higher octave. And for people from Germany, this is the Schweineterz. So this is the third to it, so it plays. This is to give it a little more substance. So what happens is that this tambourine comes in and some hi-hats. Then there's a nice, this one here and a bell. And this one, is it there? Yeah. So those effects come in together with those tambourines. All right, that gives it a push forward, and this only lasts for so long, and then the octave comes in. So it, like I said, it switches from lower octave to higher octave. And this, for me, worked just enough. So it was still not sure, but I thought like, okay, yeah, it still has enough of a change to play the second time. Once again, we still have, so far, still on this just those two elements, dum da dum dum and da 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 da. So this goes through. So then this whistle melody comes in, which we already know. this one. Right, same melody. All right, and now same thing again. Like this. How often do we have this until then? So we have had probably 32 times here. This yeah, it's another 16 times. We heard this melody. This melody. We heard it another 16 times, so overall we are now at, what is it, 48 times? No, 48 times probably. So we had it already 48 times. And we're gonna hear it another 16 times, because it's here. There it is. What's different here, of course, I'm gonna go through it a little more detail later on, is that's obviously a higher sound that keeps it interesting. And then there's a lot of stuff in the background, of course, it's very different. And also what's really interesting in here is that one instrument plays the response as well, right? Here we had it split up. So we have one instrument playing here, and then the response is this one. Right, so it's this instrument is playing the call, if you will, call. This is the call, and then we have the response. This is the response, different instrument. But this time here, call and response are played by the same instrument. And so this starts pretty high, and this is interesting because the first one, it went up with a pitch, right? So not with the lead, but with the response. So this is the response, as I showed you already. So when it repeats, it goes up. This one goes down. It starts high and goes down. And now for the third time, we have this part here. So we had it with, strings here. We have it with like more whistle here. And we had it with different solo instruments in the intro. So this is a solo violin. So also this violin is one octave higher than this one. Right? So it's always same thing coming back, but in different forms and shapes. The structure that's usually like sort of the template of this one would be, I only know the German word for it, it's Variationssatz, right? Yeah, the typical is Mozart, A vous dirai-je maman, I think, if I recall correctly. Which is and then he did like yeah, I'm not so good in singing piano pieces, but yeah, if you want to listen to it, it's very interesting. So it's a composition technique as well from classical music, where you have like one theme and you make variations of it. So you have a very basic theme, and then you have it in like faster, and then you have it even more fast, then you have it in minor instead of major, for example. and a couple of different themes. And what's interesting is in the end, usually you play the very first one again, which is exactly what happens here. Not quite the very first. So this has this introduction, but it comes back to this one. Okay, so we here have the strings. So, now we have vocal part, and listen to this. Summer in the hills. This is nothing but another variation. Dum 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 dum. Summer in the hills. Da 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 da. Those hazy days I do remember. We were running. So, some variations in the rhythm and stuff. It's once again the same thing. We heard it now. How long? 64 times. How often? 64 times. Dum ba dum bum. 64 times, and we're coming back to it. Just this time we have it's slower. It's with vocals, and I bet a lot of people don't realize that the melody they're listening to is actually the one that they've already listened to like 64 times. Had the whole world at our feet, watching seasons change. Once again. This is a variation. And this is, of course, this one again. And this one. And this one. And here we go again. Yeah, and there we go. And now we do the first main. This just the same thing again. A little variation here because this one went to the whistling part. But this time it goes into the strings. And that's the structure. Cool. So this is the thought process behind the writing of the song, the melody writing of the song. Is that very, very few elements, basically 2 bars. Just gonna repeat it real quick if you joined later. It's basically 2 bars of music, which is dung da dung dung. It's da 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 and da 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 da. Those 2 beats of music, another 2 beats of music, another 4 beats of music. That's the entire song. That's stretched out over 5 minutes. And that's, in my opinion, is the reason why it works over 5 minutes. Because it does 2 things. It constantly gives you something completely new, which is kind of surprising, while also constantly repeating what you already heard, which makes it familiar. So this is always something I aim for in music, is combining something that's familiar with something that's new. Okay. Yeah, if you have any questions about this way of writing music or what I told you, just let me know in the chat. I would go through the details of the production a little bit. Let me go through the drums first. They're kind of very simple. It's like a more dubstep snare. Very simple kick drum. And they have this ride on top. And just some different clicks. What's this? Drums are pretty simple. Can you talk about the sound effects, like how the sound effect is made and what sounds should I use? When should sound effects be used? trying using sound effects sometimes, but it's just very random. Yeah, so about the sound design for this here is that the drums, as you can hear, are completely dry, completely electronic. Right? There's no big boom or kajam or noise in the drums. They're very dry, very electronic. Which is, in this case, I think you have to make a decision where the action is happening. So if you try to have the action everywhere, it's going to get messy. If you have the action nowhere, then it's going to probably be more boring. So also where the action is not happening is in the bass. It's just almost a sign. Where the action is happening is this one. This is very interesting, I think. Those are orchestra hits. You can see there are like samples here. I made those samples, but I made them based, funnily, on Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. So there's this parts in the Fifth Symphony where it's like da 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 dum dum dum. So he has those stabs. I didn't sample them, but I got the actual score, the sheet music, and I see how exactly he layered the chords. Like, where did he put the cello, where the violins, where the brass, where the horn, like what did the different instruments play. So it sounds kind of legit classical music, because what you tend to do is that you play like the full chords on every instrument, which is not possible. And it's not how classical music would be arranged. So you would have one note for the horns, one for the trombone, usually one for the trumpets, and so on and so forth. So I tried to figure that out. And so this is kind of the layering is from Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. And I made a separate project for this. And you can see here, yeah, it's kind of... made a separate project for it and just played out everything and then put it here. So this is, as you can hear, this has like a lot of space to it. Very boomy. So if I remove this, you can see there's already a lot of the space gone. What else do we have? We have those... Oh yeah, so who knows this one? This Sun piano. My favorite. I actually thought today that I didn't use Sun piano in Monody, but turns out I did. So this... Chat is very amused. Great. Sun piano, yeah. Yeah, use this one in Unity, for example, as well. So, if I take this out and the orchestra hits. You can see this is what makes the background, those two things. So it's the orchestra hits and the sand piano, of course. Those two. Now, let me show you something that I always love to show you. Look at this. Oh, it doesn't look this. I expected it. It's more... It sounds different than it looks on the analyzer. But it's still, if you listen to it, yeah, it's probably how fast it is, because it's just the attack times. Let me make this a little faster. Speed, very fast. Oh, yeah. So it's more here, and it stays here. But this one, the high frequencies, they go down very fast. And it sounds pretty soft, right? If you compare it to the lead. It's way more aggressive. And especially when you compare it to this one here. It's way more aggressive. See, those frequencies are very much there. All the high frequencies stay in the entire time. Okay, so those are the ones that give space. And then we have the leads. So those are the elements. Very dry drums, very subtle bass. That was the key element if you listen to this one. How I had it originally. I had this gnarly bass. This is how it's not done. Right? The stabs are too aggressive. They're like synth stabs. They overshadow the lead. The bass is way too gnarly. Everything's fighting with each other. Listen to how much more space the lead has here. Especially when it repeats. Compared to this. Right? Way more space for the lead. This is what I keep preaching all the time, because I think it's one of the biggest challenges. It was a big challenge for me as well, because I had to figure it out here. Yeah, so then we have the lead. So we have, once again, very simple electronic drums, completely dry. We have a very subtle bass. And we have this elements that make the background, stabs, and the offbeat. This is the canvas. Well, this is the background. If this was a picture, this would be the landscape in the background. And then we have in the foreground, we have, of course, this one here. So those are two sounds. This sound here is very. I can show you how it was made. I can try to reverse engineer it. But the story how this was made is very, very funny. Seriously funny. Let me check something. Just gonna. No. No. So if you know the song, I don't know how to pronounce it. TheFatRat from Knife Party. It's very, very EDM song. I'm afraid I cannot. I'm afraid I cannot play it to you because of copyright reasons. I don't want the. I think it would just get muted, right? Let me play it to you. I don't care. So this one here. Knife Party. Da-da-da. So it has a drop. So this one, I think in 2000, came out in 2013. And I thought, okay, this is an interesting sound. Gonna try and reverse engineer it. And that's what I did. So I tried to reverse engineer the entire drop. Yeah, I'm taking risks. So if you see a SWAT team coming in now, you know what's happening. I've played copyrighted content. So yeah, I tried to reverse engineer that sound, and that's something I often recommend is reverse engineer stuff because you learn from it. Let me try and break down this sound. Let me duplicate it so I can mess around with it. All right, so let me try. I have to try and understand what I did here. So this is just one half of the sound. The other one is no, that was just a bell from FM8. And this one, let me see. I think the key is, yeah, it's this is. Ah, yeah, it's quite a drive. Quite a harsh waveform here. from Gladiator 2. So this is the waveform. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, because this one is off. Oscillator 5. Is there anything to Oscillator 5? I haven't used Gladiator 2 in ages. Oh yeah, there's a little click. Where is it? Where's the click? Ah, this one here, percussion. Yeah. So it's this one here a little bit, and then it's this waveform here, and then a very steep filter, and so this together with the click, and then some drive, and that's it. Yeah, some EQ. Oh, some sausage fattener. Let me play it again without the sausage fattener. With the so turn off sausage fattener. Yeah, but it doesn't make a lot. Now it gets super soft. But when I turn this off, yeah, it's still the same thing. All right. And then some pan left, right. And then some more EQ. Oh. Taking risks again. All right. Yeah, so pretty simple, if you will, sound. The song you made inspired me on my life. Thanks for making such artistic media. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's always the best messages that I can get, is that my songs like make your life better. That's what it's for. It's, by the way, an element that I'm not talking about too much. I'm very much about the process of making songs. Of course, you have this element of like you're putting your personality in it, and I think that just happens, right? You're putting your love, your inspiration, and your personality in the song. It's not so much that I could talk about it. I think it happens through the suffering that you go through while you try making music. And yeah, at some point, it's always this moment where you're sort of like giving up. We're like, I don't know if this is ever gonna work. And you still keep going, and then it's often when, yeah, great stuff is happening. All right. So yeah, this is the song. So just this very harsh waveform, but with a very steep filter, some distortion on it. And then a bell from FM8. I don't know. Probably a bell preset. Yeah, this gives it a little presence. If I turn this off, it's a little harder for it to cut through. Okay, this distorted lead here, it's pretty simple as far as I recall. What? Yeah, so what do we have here? We need this one. What do we have? So this one is... No, this one is... Oh, there's a saw. Why is it doing? Why is it sounding so interesting? Slightly. I'm just confused right now myself a little bit. This is no. This one's off. This one doesn't do anything. I think it's probably got. It's inverted. So it re-triggers. Which means it starts, the two oscillators start exactly at the same time. And it's two saws. But, it's the face. And the detune, I think. No, it's... there it is. Let me turn this off. Yeah, so... You have those. You have those two here. And they cancel each other out, right? So it's two oscillators, but with played with inverse polarity, so they cancel each other out. So, and then you move the phase slightly. And then you get a very, very steep sound, like a very, very steep, wow. A very, very steep waveform. So it's two sawtooths phase reversed in sync, so they cancel each other out, and then slightly phase shifted for those who like sound design. And then what I did as well is I put a violin sample behind it. This is without it. And then what I realized is that it sounds a little thin, and I added those chords. Let me play it without the chords. The reason why it needs this, actually realizing, is that it has those orchestra hits, but they're only playing here. So they give some background. But now they're gone. There's nothing playing. So if we would take out the leads here. You have those big hits. And then there's nothing going on. So that's the reason we need those chords in the background supporting the lead. Right? So this is also a technique that you can use if you think that your lead at some point is too weak. Try support the lead with very soft chords. What you can hear is that the chords are pretty soft, and the way they're made is very, very simple. It's just like saw. Just a couple of sawtooths detuned. So this is a saw. And it's... so this is saw. Two saws detuned against each other. And then the octave above also detuned. So one saw, four saws. Right, and then it's distorted. Interestingly, the distortion makes it kind of soft. Yeah. Now the tambourines come in. Lead is an octave higher. We have this adding. And this here is... This is interesting because this is already what kind of prepares you for the next part, because now this is going to be very present. It's actually the same chords, right? So yeah, this is the next part, is this one here. And if you take out the lead here, this is the most important part, right? So this is already introduced here. Because, yeah, it's just added here. There's actually a lot of stuff coming in here. It's the chords, some strings, and there's also the lead still there. The leads is just playing along to the chords. And who can guess how this whistle sound was made? Anybody having guesses how I made the whistle sound? What technique I used? Oh, let me turn off the AC. Because this is a technique that I use a lot. You whistled? No. Omnisphere? Yeah, Omnisphere was one of those. The other one is that I used resonant filters on white noise. Or pink noise. This is Omnisphere? I think I used... Probably used even this technique. Or is it Windsweeper? Or maybe I didn't use it this time. No, actually I think I didn't use it this time. That's interesting. Alright. I thought I did. Usually I'm always using that. So what I often do is I use pink noise, put a filter on it, make the filter extremely resonant, and then have the filter playing the melody on noise, if you will. No, actually I didn't do it this time. It's just two different samples from Omnisphere, I realized. I think this has a... Yeah, it has a volume automation on it. Yeah. So you can see the volume here. Then horns come in. And somebody already said, listen to the bass, how different the bass is. This makes like all the difference in my opinion. This is the first part. Now the second part. And let me play together with the kick. So once again, the first one. Also the kick and the bass here. It's very dun 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 dun, and this one goes way more bouncy. And together with this here had the, if you listen to the other instruments, this has this is what makes the this is what makes the background. And listen to this one. Has this dotted 16ths, like dung 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 ding 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 ding. It's very, very syncopated, very dotted. And the bass is all over the place. Bass all over the place. I think this is the same one again, yeah. All right. Yeah, and chords here. Also important that this is Dune 2, automated the filter. Where's the filter? I don't know, I think it's in the... Yeah, it's in the MIDI control probably. You can see here. Oh, there's a little... No, this is just so it's closed. Also, this has a like listen to those. Like this note here is different. Why does it do that? Because the bass moves. Right, first time is this. Second time. Makes it even more unsteady, if you will, right? If the bass is dum 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 dum, or if the bass was dum 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 dum, it feels very steady. If the bass goes dum 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 boom 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 boom, it's like where am I? Sort of. It's makes it more nervous, but also makes moving more forward, right? Yeah. So there's another layer of chords. I think this is Omnisphere. Yep. It's just some bells, I think. It's always... I realized I made all those sounds. Like this is... Mystic metals with some tweaks to it. It's not a patch. It's actually a sample from Omnisphere. But made the patch myself. It's just to give it some space. So if you compare it... If I turn this off... This gives it more space. And then, of course, the flute. And you can hear there's a lot of different details going on. See all those little notes that I added here? And pitch bend here. Pitch bend here. Hear that? You can see the pitch bend here. More notes here. And you see I even more going on. So he had another note here. That was too much. Oh, let me turn on everything. So this would have been... Yeah, so this was a little too much, so some notes I had like as options here. Yeah. Once again, tons of details, just trying to make it interesting. What's that? Yeah, this is just something added to the bass. Strings with volume automation. And then there's little reference to Unity, which was already produced at that point when I finished this one. And this one here, this is a combination. So this is the... Oh, let me show you the... This is also interesting, I think. The flute here. So this is one that I found. This is sort of a preset. It's called Steam Pipe 2 in Reactor. And what it does... One of my favorite things, it creates notes out of noise. I'm not going to play around with this because this is it's very unlike any other synthesizer. Because yeah, you use noise. Let me see if I can double this. And if I can, yeah, let me double this and open the new version. I don't want to destroy the old version. So you have the pipe here, and then you have the steam. This is noise. And this is the feedback, yeah. Through the feedback, so this is noise, and through the feedback, it actually makes the note. Yeah, which is a very interesting sound, I think. Very flute-like, but it's still a synthesizer. And I found this just by, there's like Reactor, if you have Reactor. It just comes with a ton of those very, very weird, very old instruments as well. Some are like 20 years old probably. Because Reactor, you can build your own instruments. So they build a lot of different instruments in it. And yeah, this is Steam Pipe 2. I just opened a lot of them and tried them out. So the point here basically is, if you have any collections of instruments, synthesizers and stuff, just listen through a lot of them. Yeah, keep doing this. Of course, up to this day, I try and get a lot of new synthesizers, and I also try and listen to all the presets as well, and all the weird stuff that is there, and see if there's any one sound where I'm like, oh wait, this actually sounds very interesting. So that's how I found this one. And this one here, this is a sample. It's from, I bought this ages ago. Where am I? What's it called? Was it Ethno World 5? Very old sample library, but it has this pan flute. Let me turn off the effects. Yeah, so this is pan flute. Just use some filter on it. De-esser, so it's not that harsh. Delay, reverb. And that's pretty much it. So this is the main one. And then I use this one here again, but an octave lower. This just gives it more meat. So this is a little, on its own, it's a little harsh. A little too harsh. If you add this under it, it's a little more round. And violin. This is actually a violin that I recorded, actually a couple of. So I had one guy playing the violin, recorded him over and over again, mixed that, and then it's 2 synthesizer violins. Everything mixed together. Horns. This is just samples. And then just some Nexus blockbuster strings. And you can hear... Why is it not playing? Oh, there's something missing. Oh yeah, it's not playing. There's actually... Oh yeah. It doesn't matter. This one, still playing. In the background here. Just like this one, like the lead is always still playing in the background, just like this one here. Of course, a big difference is on this part here is that the snare is not there anymore. Like here you have the snare. Bop, 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 and so on and so forth. Here, it's not there. You just have the claps and the offbeat. Like the dung chuck, it's not there anymore. That's also why it's feels so much lighter. Yeah, so this is the idea. So what's also important for me is when I look back on those songs, is not that I have like everything that I explained now, I had it like figured out. Right? It's more looking back, you're like, oh wow, this is why this works. Yeah, so you kind of follow your instinct as well. Yeah, and this is pretty much it. So those are different projects here.
Those hazy days I do remember. We were running still. Had the whole world.
I'd have to open those, and I don't know if they would work. It took me 2 hours probably to get this project to work again. And it's... So the vocal mix is nothing spectacular. It's just Laura sounding great and the production leaving enough space for the vocal. That's sort of the trick here. It's just some EQ, reverb, delay on the vocal. It's a solo in the verse, and then here's like some doubles left and right, just a little bit. So it's recorded 3 times, once in the middle, and then it's once to the left, once to the right. Very, very subtle. But this gives you the effect when she goes on here that it becomes wider. Also, the project is slower here. So this is completely different tempo. So if I switch on the click. So this is the click. Alright. Everything's on click. Completely off click. So it's a different tempo in the project, and it gets slower here. So if you yeah, so I had a couple of tempo automations on this one going on to imitate the real orchestra, because a real orchestra also would have a decrescendo and crescendo. No, not accelerando. What's the opposite? I don't know. It slows down. It slows down and gets faster. Real orchestra slows down and gets faster. It's more dynamic. So I did this in the other project as well. Yeah, and then Laura singing, and that's it. And this is like, if you listen to the instrumental of this one here, with strings, like this is typical orchestra. Cellos doing some movements here. Flute and woodwinds coming in. It's a basson, and then a harp. And the double basses are coming in here. There are no double basses here. And here's the bass drop. Double bass drop. The harp. The horns coming in. Yeah, I think one critical thing for this too, I mean, you can have some knowledge about orchestra, which you simply acquire by reverse engineering other orchestra. Like you listen to a lot of stuff and say, okay, this is how what they do with the strings, this is how they arrange a violin and a cello and stuff like that. You just look at a couple of sheet music and you see what they're doing. And then you just have to like the music and you have to feel it. I think that's very important. Big inspiration for this one, it was Warlords of Draenor. Let me see if I can find this. I think it's a World of Warcraft. It played, so I was watching a YouTube channel called Trollden. Well, let me see if I can find that. And they had this crazy good music whenever, because I was playing Hearthstone at the time. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. So I have to scroll down a lot. Oh my god, I have to scroll down so far. So I was playing Hearthstone at the time. I really liked the game. And there's a YouTube channel called Trollden. And they collected funny Hearthstone plays. So like weird stuff. It's a card game for those who don't know. And there like funny situations can happen. And so they collected those funny situations, and let me see if I have it here. And whenever... No, that's not the one. When they played the outro, They had a certain music coming all the time, and I really like that one. No, that's not the one. I'm trying to find it now. I hope I find it in a reasonable amount of time. No, that's not the one. Yeah. So, this is Trollum, and this is the outro. Yeah, you can hear a little bit of that in the intro, right? So this flute and stuff. So yeah, I think this is very, very epic. So you just have to, it's important that you like it as well. Yeah. Yeah, my references are everywhere. That's true. Like often people ask me, what's your inspiration? It's like that. It's that the way the flute is produced is like from there, and then the overall vibe is maybe from somewhere else. And yeah, like the melody, for example, is from an a cappella song, da, 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 but the overall vibe is then from the outro from a YouTube channel that's from Hearthstone. So I'm always very, very actively listening to everything that I'm listening very active whenever I hear music. And when I feel something, that's always when it gets interesting. So I listen to something, wow, that's like, I feel something, and then I try to understand why that is. Yeah, so this is the production of Monody. Let me switch this back. I hope you learned something. I hope you found this interesting. Let me know if there anything else you want to know. I get the inspiration. Great. Retardando! Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Thank you very much. Accelerando or retardando. It was interesting. Great. I'd love to know how you made Jackpot. Yeah, we can go through that as well. Which one would you like to see next for song breakdown? Oh, by the way, I'm gonna have another song coming out in 2 weeks from now, I think. So I will do a song breakdown for that one as well. One week after that. But then after that, Jackpot. Yeah, I learned how important it is to layering and how important it is to give leads the space. I wouldn't say that layering in general is important, but it's a great way if your sound is missing something. You can just layer and add whatever you need. Right. We have the Dream remix. Wow. I have to check that out. Yeah, I can check that as well. Of the Rain Part 2. And yeah, there's the next chapter is coming. Which feeling or emotion would you describe Monody? I do with optimism and nostalgia. I don't know why. Yeah, that's the fascinating thing. I think the great thing about music is that you can create emotions and feelings that you really cannot describe them. I mean, you could put words on them, but they're somewhat transcendent. That's the beauty of creating music. How long have you been working on Monody? So, like I said in the beginning, it was from the initial idea to the finished song was 30 months probably, but consecutive work it was 5 months. So yeah, I had the idea and I was pregnant with the idea for quite a while, and then really finishing it was 5 months. Fly Away, yeah, Fly Away is also a great idea. Oblivion Breakdown, kind of. When you upload Monkeys and Out of the Rain breakdowns on your vlog channel, yes, I will definitely do that. Mayday, Prelude. Q&A talk next week. Yeah, next week will be a Q&A on Discord. If you haven't, if you're not in my Discord, make sure to check it out. Yeah, I will be there for a Q&A, and then we will have release day. Yeah, we'll have release day. And then we will have the song breakdown, and then I can do another song breakdown. Could you play Monody with other vocals? Yes, let me check that. That's an interesting one. Give me a second. Just trying to find it. Let me see. Let me see. No. No, that's already Laura. Yeah, this is Laura.
Those hazy days I do remember we were.
Yeah, this was one before.
Summer in the hills, those hazy days I do remember. We were running still, had the whole world at our feet, watching seasons change. Our roads were lined with adventure, mountains in the way, couldn't keep us from the sea.
No, she's not from Salt, it's My Sugar. It's a different singer.
This is home where we are, ever strong
Let me-
in the trees, holding on, memories never change. Your shadows in the
I think I didn't.
holding on,
I think I didn't print the ones. No, I think I didn't print the ones with which I didn't like. Let me check real quick.
keep us from the sea.
This is another one. So I think I had 3 singers or 4 singers. 3 singers or 4 singers. And 5 different sessions, yeah. Yeah, so this is one. All right. Yeah, Laura just fits better for the song. The singer that you just heard, she's actually quite successful. She's doing a lot of DJ ghost singing, if you will. She's on a quite successful song at the moment as well. Anyway, cool. Yeah, more questions next week. If you have more general questions, I'll be around next week on the Discord. Thank you very much for watching today. And yeah, I'll be back on Twitch in 3 weeks, I think. Wait a second. No, 1 week gonna be Discord, 2 weeks gonna be released. In 3 weeks, I'll be back with a song breakdown for a new song that will be out in 2 weeks. Yeah. All right. Sweet. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in 3 weeks, or actually in 1 week if you join my Discord. Bye-bye.